So, hello and welcome. My name's Danny. I'm one of the Fab facilitators here at the Fab Academy, and we are final day of our Art of the Possible festival. And we have our amazing ambassador, Paul Delflin, talking all about kindness and positivity today. So, with no further ado, Paul, do you want to introduce yourself and get started?
Gosh, well, what to say after that lovely introduction from the wonderful Danny? It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on the channel this morning. I've just got a couple of little visual slides to show you, really, just to get some of our concepts across. So welcome and thank you to Danny and Terry for the opportunity, really, to come and talk to you about 5 high impact things that we can think about to help with well-being, really, and to not just well-being, but to be our best selves. And the commitment to be our best selves is something that we're kind of seeing have a really lovely uptake now, right across health and care. And we've just taken some of the science and we're going to introduce you to what we think are probably the top 5 things you could probably enjoy hearing about today. So the first thing we want to talk to you about is making a conscious decision to be kind. Now, that might sound a little bit pink and fluffy and a nice thing to do if you remember on a good day. But actually, guys, it's the opposite. What research has showed us over the last 30, 40 years on this is there's a very compelling reason in psychology as to why we need to make a conscious decision to be kind. Because when we make a conscious decision to be kind, we're giving our neurology, if you like, our brains, our nervous system, a command. We're giving ourselves a command to be kind. But the really, really lovely thing about it is when we choose to be kind, we trigger a chemical reaction in our brains and it brings a lot of good stuff with it. So we think kindness is an absolute superpower. And when you choose to be kind, that's your first top tip. What actually happens is you get a chemical release in your brain. Just making that choice to be kind is amazing. It's the serotonin and the oxytocins that start flowing freely through your brain, and they have a massive impact on you. They make you feel more positive. And what we know about that is positive mind is positive life, don't we? And there's this correlation as well in terms of well-being and feeling happy, and feeling happy makes you feel kinder, and being kind and feeling kind makes you happy. It's a correlation chemically in our brains, and we get this kind of um, synergy, and the whole thing grows, and kind of it really does start taking hold of our psychology and neurology, and we get this chemical benefit in our brains just by deciding to be kind. The other thing it does is really build our self-esteem. So whatever we think we can achieve in terms of our potential, the researchers tell us that if you times that by 10, you're probably somewhere close to your actual true potential. Now just think about that for a minute in terms of personal and professional goals. Whatever you think you can achieve, times it by 10, and that's actually your capability. And there's a lot of evidence in the research to say that. And this research is as compelling as all the drug trials. It's very, very powerful stuff. And the other lovely thing around this is in terms of physical well-being, of course, is the serotonin oxytocin group of chemicals. It dilutes all the toxins that cause us to have heart attacks and strokes and anxiety and depression. It physically dilutes them down like iron squash. It's an incredible thing just from making a conscious decision to be kind. Now, our second top tip for you this morning, guys, is to be aware of your impact in terms of how you impact others, but also think about how others impact you. Because what we learned from the brilliant Jim Rohn back in the 60s is that we are the average of the 5 people we spend our most time with, because behavior breeds behavior. And that's a really important thing. So being aware of your impact and how you infect, we all infect everybody we bump into every day, at home, at the supermarket, at the gym, at work, out and about, our friends, our family. We all infect them, either good or bad. We can't not infect them with our behavior. It's just a psychological constant, which means there's nothing you can do about it, and it always happens. So let's make a conscious decision to infect them in a really positive, empowering way. Be kind and be positive. Because the really frightening thing around this slide is that the way you describe others is how people see you. Now, that might not actually represent who you are in reality for the majority of your life, But if you're on a bad day and you're having a pop at somebody, whoever hears you will judge you by the same brush. So how you describe others is how people see you. So if that's having a bit of a not nice thing around a water cooler at work moment, then people are going to think that's what you're like all the time. If it's about an act of kindness, an act of appreciation, you're expressing how amazing somebody is, then people are going to go, oh gosh, they're a really nice character, aren't they? Fancy them taking the time to do that. So emotion breeds emotion, and it's a lovely little bit of research called hyperdyadic spread. And the thing around hyperdyadic spread is that it's your ability to affect the emotional state of other people that you never meet. And if we've got a bit longer on the session, in fact, we're going to put it up on our little website, on the Fab Academy website. We've got a page for this program. I'm going to show you the video that Coca-Cola UK used to show Behaviour Breeds Behaviour. So a guy laughing on a train and how he positively infects the train and everybody bursts out laughing spontaneously. It's a incredible thing. So please be aware, guys, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So get away from the mood hoovers or minimize your contact with the mood hoovers. Now, our top tip number 3 is think about what you're thinking about. And the reason why we want to bring this point to you is we'll all appreciate that our thoughts aren't real, are they? Our thoughts are in our minds. They're not real. You can't touch them. You can't drive them. You know, they're just there in our mind. But in psychology terms, they're incredibly powerful because thoughts do become things. Thoughts do become things, don't they? Because thoughts drive our behavior. And it's the behavior that brings about our results, our outcomes in life, good, bad, or indifferent. So think about what you're thinking about. And what Danny and I want to challenge you to do a few times a day is check in with yourself. Think about what you're thinking about and ask yourself this question. Does it serve me? Does it help me be my best self, have a great life, be kind to people, help people be their best selves as well, have a great day? Does my current thought pattern serve me? And if the answer to that is no, then that's not a bad thing because you've checked in with yourself and you've caught it before you've gone right through the whole of your day. But just change your frame of mind, think about something else, force yourself to think about something else. And here's a lovely top tip Danny and I want to give you as well with think about what you're thinking about. All the negative thoughts are generated autonomically from our nervous system. They're passed up this little portal from our subconscious to our conscious mind. And they're generated by our mind. The negativity comes by default from our mind. But our conscious mind can choose to cancel that out and focus on something positive. It's called reframing. Focus your thoughts on something positive. And the really lovely thing about this little exercise is our conscious mind always overturns our subconscious negativity. It's a lot more powerful. So you can do it. And on this little slide, we want to kind of give you a really big concept here, guys, and this will have you reaching for the paracetamol. How do we know what to think about if the psychologists tell us on average we have 11 million bits of information a second hit our brains? 11 million per second bits of information hit our brains. But our conscious mind can only process 50 bits of information. So how do we get from 11 million to 50 bits of information every single second? So in order for our brains not to explode, we've got a little filter, which you won't be surprised to hear. And the scientists call it the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's at the back of our brains at the bottom. And its job is to filter that 11 million bits of information a second and decide which of those 11 million bits of information are going to make it through to your conscious thought. We're going to push it up a little channel from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind for you to physically think about. Now, this is really scary because the decision process it uses to get you from 11 million to 50 bits of information a second is it looks for what you think about most. Now, that is really problematic. It looks for what you think about most. Now, the problem with this is if that's kindness, positivity, self-esteem, be your best self and help others do the same, you're going to get a whole lot more of it because your RAS, your reticular activating system, says That's really important to Danny, Terry, and people in Fab Academy, because that's the kind of people they are. We're going to serve up a lot more than that. But if it's worry, anxiety, depression, distress, you're going to get a lot more of that as well, because this RAS doesn't even know. Apologies for the noise in the background. This RAS doesn't know what serves you best. It just wants you to have more of what you think about most. So please check in with yourself. Think about what you're thinking about. Does it serve you? Think about making sure you get the right bits of information a second up your little neurological conscious pathway into your mind, because we create our own reality. Those 50 bits of information a second make up our reality. So now moving on to our other little top tip for you is we want you to use something called the power of now. And now means here and now. This is what we're kind of pitching to you. And what we want to say about this is most people spend a lot of their waking moments thinking about the past or the future. Now, we're not saying that's necessarily a totally bad thing, right? If it's positive, if it's empowering, if it's something you're looking forward to. But if it's making you unhappy, if it's causing you worry or stress, then that's not a plan for happiness, is it? So the other thing about the power of now is if you can, when you're thinking about what you're thinking about, think about where your mind is. Is it in the past? Is it in the future? You see, the problem with the past is it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it, guys. It's happened. You can't affect any of that. And the same is true with the future, isn't it? You haven't got the future yet. All you've got is now. So by focusing on the now, will end up giving you a far more productive, successful, and happy life. And on the happiness level, this is a lovely little bit of research. We all have something called a happiness set point. And the happiness set point is on a scale of about 1 to 10 or whatever you want to make it to be. And it's basically how, on average, how happy do you feel every day, if you like. And it fluctuates. So, of course, it fluctuates. It depends on if we have good experiences, bad experiences. But the thing about this little chart we wanted to share with you is, despite having ups and downs away from our happiness set point, it's like an elastic band. It always comes back to our happiness set point. Now, what makes up our happiness level, right? What determines how happy we are? Well, 50% of it's due to your parents and your grandparents. It's your physiology. It's in your DNA. So blame them for that, right? 50% of your happiness comes from your physiology, how we're made chemically. 10% of our happiness level comes from life events, good, bad, or ugly. But a whopping 40% of our happiness comes from your intentional activity. 40%. You can influence how happy you feel by 40% based on checking in with your thoughts. Are you thinking about the things that serve you? Are you doing more of what you like doing and less of what you don't like doing? Are you hanging out with inspiring people like in the Fab Academy that want to help you succeed, be your best self, or you're spending bit too much time with the mood hoovers? 40% of your happiness level. It's incredible. So it's a real key to a stage. So please use the power now. Think about your happiness set point. And we want to talk to you about the next point here is to use your personal power to be your best self. Personal power, basically, that's around some choices. That's about you making a decision that it's going to be okay to be uncomfortable and push the boundaries sometimes. Get outside of your comfort zone. What we know from the research is nobody ever achieved their true potential from their comfort zone. Nobody. If people are comfortable in their comfort zones, that's great. They'll have an okay life, but they will never, ever achieve their true potential. And that's really sad. In fact, the researchers will tell us only 10% of the world's population achieve their true potential. There's hundreds of thousands worth of people in research trials prove that. Only 10% of the world's population achieve their true potential. I think that's heartbreaking. That's why people commit to be their best selves, because they want to achieve their true potential. And these points, these 5 points we've told you about today, are consistently present in the people that achieve their true potential. They live it. They step outside of their comfort zone. They work through the stuff around uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And they actually take that much action around outside the comfort zone. They end up feeling comfortable about being uncomfortable. They might not necessarily like it completely all the time, but they're okay with it because they know that's where the magic comes from. Progress and potential comes from outside your comfort zone, guys. And swapping your limiting beliefs for beliefs that inspire you to take action. Because, as we said, our reticular activating system is a people pleaser. And if you say you can or can't do something, it's going to go and find all the evidence it can to uphold that belief. If you say with the right support, development, hanging out with the right people and working hard, you're going to achieve, 10x your goals and achieve your potential, you're going to do it. So swap those limiting beliefs, which unfortunately, guys, are our default, right? They're there to keep us safe. It's like a safety mechanism to stop us getting hurt, making mistakes and feeling bad. Forget it, right? Forget it. There's no such thing as failure. These people that achieve their true potential understand you always get a result. It's not always the result you want, but you always get a result. And you just keep going and going and going and going until you get the result you want. There's no such thing as failure. And these people achieve things that most people never dream about. So please live outside your comfort zone, guys. Here's our little digital postcard. I think the guys have done a better job on this Fab Academy website, but just so you can have a quick flick through there and see the 5 things that we really wanted to share with you today. So, and I think Danny will tell us how we get hold of the digital postcard for you, and make sure we've got these slides online. And please, if anybody's interested in this, if you go to nhskindnessnetwork.uk, that's nhskindnessnetwork.uk, you'll see our page on the Fab Academy website, and you can reach out to us there. We are in the process of recruiting and training up kindness coaches as part of the Fab Academy work, and running something called the Big NHS Kindness Experiment through the Fab Academy. So we'd love for you to be part of our social movement. So Danny.